I would get questions definitely all the time from people being like, oh, he's black, so does that mean that he has big hands? G'day mate, my name's Margie.
And I'm Kami.
And welcome to our YouTube home, Next to Natty.
We do videos about our passions, projects, and biracial parenting. And
in today's video, we're going to be looking at an article from the Huffington Post about the questions that are most commonly asked to interracial couples, like ourselves.
We're interracial.
Biracial, cross-cultural, cross-country, mixed, whatever you want to call it.
I thought we were just people.
Yeah, it turns out we're not, apparently.
And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to check out more of our videos.
And if you've got 2 seconds to hit that like button as well, it really means a lot in helping us grow our channel. So, with that being said, let's have a look at some of the questions.
12 seconds later.
8 questions interracial couples are tired of hearing. Number 1, how does your family feel about your partner's race?
My family is all white Australians with a mixed background, but white. In terms of when they found out that I was dating an African American, my mom was just like, "Ooh, do you know about like his heritage and history?" She's really into my ancestry, DNA, and all that sort of thing. So if anything, like that was her only comment about it, really. Otherwise, I don't know, I guess they were just like, "Oh, that's so cool." Because I guess in Australia, African Americans have like a cool factor about them, because all we saw really growing up were rappers, hip hop artists, people who were wealthy and cool and everything like that. So you're cool.
I'm cool.
Yeah, that's all I can say about my family. If anything, you being American is probably more of a turn off than anything else. But the fact that you're African American, in their eyes, they're like, "Oh no, he can't be one of those crazy Americans, so he's fine."
Yeah, definitely not one of the crazy ones. I mean, I just want to comment on that. I have dated other white people before, and they've been Americans, so the experience is definitely different, and it's nice. Like, your mom's just a huge like ancestry buff, which is really cool. So she likes to talk about, you know, where families come from, and you know, the movement of families through different regions and different time periods. And it's not so much like, "Oh, you're black. What do black people do?" No, but it was very different experience, and it was very nice. But my family, it was like, "She's Australian? Does she say shrimp on the Barbie?" That's pretty much it. They're like, "Hey, like, you date whoever you date." I think the fact that you're Australian was way more fascinating than whatever your skin color was.
How have your family felt before when you were dating someone who was white? From America versus Australia?
Nah, my family's chill. They don't care at all. Like, it's neither here nor there. It's a very huge emphasis on character, so they look at the types of people that I date, and then they figure out like, yeah, you date interesting people, which is like cold in my family for like, yeah, that's not gonna work.
So I'm uninteresting?
You fit the MO.
All right, next question.
All right, next question. Question number 2. You're dating a insert race or ethnicity. Are you worried about insert country, ethnic stereotype? Like, what? Okay,
so I'm dating an African American. Aren't I worried about, I'm assuming here, the black stereotype? For me, I guess like initially like the American stereotype coming from Australia is like a crazy person who has guns and...
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Yeah, mostly just crazy. The Australian media is pretty rough on America, to be honest. Being black or being an African American, the Australian media definitely portrayed you in a different way. So I honestly didn't know any of the stereotypes. Like, I didn't know the stereotype about fried chicken or about watermelon. I don't know, I guess I knew the stereotype about black people being good at basketball. Like, does that count?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't know like a lot of the stereotypes. Like, that's the only one I really know, I guess, because we saw that in the media, like we knew Michael Jordan. I don't know, so no, I wasn't worried about the stereotypes. I don't think I ever asked you if you were good at basketball. Yeah,
that would have been like a...
That would have been...
Not
okay.
a next date.
Yeah, so yeah, in terms of that, like, no, I've never been worried about it.
Oh yeah.
I also just remembered, I would get questions definitely all the time from people being like, "Oh, he's black, so does that mean that he has big hands, etc, etc." So I can't believe I forgot that stereotype. Yeah, that was obviously one that people ask as well, and yeah, you have a bit of a laugh over it because that's seen as like a positive thing. But if it was one of the other stereotypes, like with Japanese men or Asian men, then yeah, that's a negative thing. So I think overall, it's not an appropriate question to ask, and it is, yeah, a little racist to ask that.
So,
how about you? You're dating a white Australian. Are you worried about the Australian stereotype?
Yo man, the Australian stereotype, as far as I know, is like, are you like Steve Irwin? And that's the end of it.
Whoo! Danger, danger, danger.
Do you think my accent sounds like Steve Irwin's?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. If you're interested in learning actually about my accents and me also attempting to do American accents, we have a video over on my second channel, Aussie Girl Maggie. So there'll be a link to that in the description below and the cards above as well, if you want to learn about the accents anyway. What about in terms of white girl stereotypes? What's that for?
White girls like black guys, that's
okay.
the stereotype.
okay, yeah, that was a new one I learned, was like Snow Bunny.
Oh yeah, Snow.
Yeah. Were you worried I was fetishizing you in any way, or?
No, like, I don't know, man. Like, somebody's asked me about this before, right? Do I worry about, you know, other ethnicities fetishizing about black guys or black people? And I don't really care. I feel like the type of people that I attract is not those individuals who see me as like an idea, like, ooh, I'm something that they can have for like a moment. And I'm pretty good at sifting that out. So I'm not ever worried about it, because the people that I find, my wife, we connect on a much deeper level, and I can usually tell that within a conversation or two.
Okay, next question.
Question number 3. Wouldn't it be easier to just date your own race?
No. This is such a weird question. Wouldn't it be easier to date another white guy? No. Would it be easier to date an Australian? I mean, it'd be cheaper for the visa, because it's gonna cost like $7 grand to get his Australian visa.
We should do a video about that. It's expensive.
Yeah, that's probably like the only easier part it would be cheaper in the long run. But otherwise, no, I don't think there'd be anything easier. How about you though? Do you think it would be, because there's obviously so much more with African American and black culture. How do you feel?
No. Short answer, long answer, I think it's way more complicated than that. When you think about easier, like there's so many levels to that, right? Would it be easier to date a black woman? But like, black from where? Like an African woman? Because then, you know, there's still, you know, country divides, cultural disparities. But it'd be easier to date a black American? Like, I don't know, I haven't been in America for like the last 6 years, really. I've been out of the country majority of my adult life, so not really, because I haven't been there. I don't think there's anything easier about dating. Like, you find people that you connect with, and people who end up in, you know, quick turnaround relationships, then no, none of that's easier. Like, it never gets any easier. Personally, I've always wanted to date someone who travels, so that was, yeah, just find whoever travels, and that was my soul companion.
30 countries in Canada. 31 countries. Yay, America.
First time.
What about the whole idea that like you're betraying your culture by dating a white person?
Oh, this we could go on for hours about. I love this topic. So there's a conception that you can't have a black child if both of your parents are not black, which is a new, I guess, wave or movement within the black community. And I personally am not a fan of it. I don't know the right word to say it, like maybe some type of racism or some type of bias for like the one drop rule and partial blackness and all these things through history, predominantly in America. I mean, I don't know, like if you go far back enough, like I have European heritage and I'm a descendant of that. So theoretically, if they could never have had black children because they both were not technically black, then none of my family would have been black. So then I wouldn't be black. So I don't think there's anything easier about that. I think just finding people that align with your views is much easier than trying to find someone who fits a caricature. It's like I want to find a black woman who's pro-black, who wants to be an activist and who wants to dive into community. It's like I'm creating a laundry list for a woman to meet, and it's just like, what about the things I want? Like all of this just to be, you know, for the black community, and then all of this just to be the woman I want, and then all of this just to meet the family requirements, and then all of this to meet like specific parental requirements. It's like, I'll toss all that out the window. I find people I connect with, and I don't think there's anything easy about learning yourself and then connecting with someone on a real level, like mental, emotional, spiritual, and then growing together. That's insanely difficult, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think honestly the only backlash I've come up against hasn't been from other Australians, but it's been from other Americans. Like, and not even in person, it's of course online. Only on Facebook did I get backlash from another woman who was, yeah, angry that I was trying to do something to support my black child and didn't believe that I could be a parent of a black child because I wasn't black, even though I was trying to do something to support my child. And it was because of the whole idea of they used to take our babies and have white women breastfeed them. And I was like, what? So there's a whole heap of like, obviously culture and like history and racism and everything like that that's going on in America that affects the way that I guess African Americans see white people. But then for me as an Australian coming into it and not knowing a lot of this background, yeah, it took me by surprise. Because like, I don't know, everyone in Australia is mixed. Like none of us are Australian unless you are Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. So we will all come from a mixture of different immigrants coming from all over the world. So yeah, that was my first time sort of, I guess, seeing the opposite, like of the one drop rule. It's like, oh, we don't care what your background is. It's what color is your skin presenting. That's what you are.
Oh man.
So yeah, so I guess that was the only time I was just like, oh, okay. It's Facebook, so you know, you just do what you do and just leave it be, because there's no point.
With the punches.
Yeah. All right, what's the next question?
Question number 4. But think of the children. Aren't you worried they will be bullied?
Okay, so we basically just got through that.
Nah, I'm going first, yo.
Okay.
No, I think
You're not worried about Xander being bullied in America?
No. Absolutely not. All right, look, here's my personal belief, right? Like, children can be intense, to put it politely. And I think that, yeah, sometimes you're gonna experience children being bullied, but how that affects your child individually, or just any child, depends a lot on the resilience that you foster within that child. So I will teach my child to be comfortable with his skin color, to be comfortable with the fact that his mother may not look exactly like him. Neither will his father. He will be a mix, and that is fine. It is okay to identify as black and Australian, as American, as white. Like, it doesn't matter specifically what he is fitting into, because he doesn't have to fit into some cookie cutout group. I just need him to be focused on, you know, good characteristics of his personality. Be good unto others who are good unto you. Don't take things personal. Like, people have opinions. They are not factual. Understand that. Move forward with it. Accept that you are fallible, you are human. Just accept that all people make mistakes and they don't always know what's best. So, do I think he'll be bullied? Yeah. Am I worried about it? No. I think that I'll develop skills in my child to be able to overcome those situations.
Okay, I guess, yeah, that's pretty good. I would have said in general that, yeah, I'm worried about him being bullied in both countries for separate reasons, realistically. So I'd be worried about him being bullied by other black children in America, just based off honestly what I've seen on TV from some of the Facebook groups I'm in of like biracial children and things like that, where yeah, some moms have brought up before where their children have been called like Oreos or mulatto, zebras, things like that, where they're not black enough, but other people see them as black and treat them that way no matter what. So like, they're getting it from both sides almost. So I guess that was something I was more worried about in America. And then in Australia, no, because I guess if they know that he's African American, again, the cool factor. But just from appearances though, I would be worried, especially in my hometown, because it's quite racist, to be honest. And I would be more concerned about him growing up there rather than in a big city that's a lot more multicultural.
This concerns, right? You're raising a child, they gotta go out into the world, and you have to trust that the world's not gonna chew them up and swallow. Am I worried? Yes, but I've also been a part of that world, and I know, you know, who to surround myself with, people to introduce my child to, how to teach my child about these things without crushing personalities and individualism. I'm not distraught about it. There's other things I worry about, but children being cliquey, I'm not concerned.
We will have a strong son. And maybe other children.
Oh yeah.
All right, next question.
Question number 5. Do you only date insert ethnic group, white people,
like,
or black people? Like, I don't know.
Do I only date African Americans or only date black people? No, I've dated a lot of white people as well. I guess I've dated 2 races. So no, I don't only date one race. How about you? Do you only date one race?
God, no.
Do you think it's weird though that people say that, but they wouldn't say it to like a white guy, be like, oh, do you only date white girls?
Ooh,
Like
actually,
it's
I've
like a
heard that.
fetish almost, I think.
Yeah, like I've heard all of it. So I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, but I also went to college in small town America. So, you know, that was weird. There's a lot of instances where it's like, oh, from white women, like, oh, if my mom knew I was talking to you or hanging out with you, she'd be so mad. And I'm like, cool story, bro. Like, I don't, what do you want me to tell you? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not.
that's, do they not realize
it?
they're being racist when they say that?
Yes and no, but it's honestly, you're getting a person who's never experienced anything other than that mentality in their hometown of like 150 people. They've only had one black family in that entire town, and now they're in college. So they're like 19 years old. That's 19 years of ingrained, I don't know what you call this.
Secludedness? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
No exposure to diversity or understanding.
Yeah, so they just don't get it, and I get it. Like, I grew up in a much bigger city. I think the biggest eye-opener for me was when I left America the first time and went to Japan. That was, wow. Like, I can't stress enough that it is important to travel because it broadens your perspective, right? At that time when I was in college, yeah, I was a little upset. I was irritated. Chick told me she wouldn't date me. We really liked each other because I was black and she was white, and I was just like, damn, but I like you. And it was cool, it was whatever, right? But
It's not cool, like, it should never have to, especially like in this day and age, that should never be a thing. Like, oh, your skin color, sorry, no.
I mean, in perspective, right? Like, it's such a trivial thing. You don't want to date me, you're not the person for me. That's fine. Like, if I pursue that relationship, both of us will be unhappy for a multitude of reasons, which would have started with that one incident. I could have pushed, I did it. It wasn't that important to me. Leaving America and now seeing what it's like to be around just one type of people and one mindset all the time, and I can see how detrimental that could be. And
it's no good. Like,
it's not.
You can never underestimate the importance of traveling and learning about other people's cultures and how they do things differently. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different.
Yeah.
It just broadens your mind so much more, and I think it makes you a better person and makes you more accepting of other people for their skin, their race, ethnicity, religion, values, ideals, all of it. It really changes you, I think.
I didn't actually learn to be proud or have any pride in where I came from or where I grew up until I left America. It would be like, oh yeah, that's my place. It's on the map, man. Like, that's where I grew up.
That's for me. Like, for me, I've lived out of Australia now for 6 years. And definitely the last 2 years, it's really hit home more, especially since having our son. Like, I want him to see the Australian culture, and I really want him to embrace it as well. And yes, first time I really, really missed home. So I can't wait to go back one day. Next question.
Next.
We went a bit off track there.
6. Can you help me find a insert race / ethnicity? Boyfriend or girlfriend? Ooh.
Yeah, no, I've had this one. Can you help me find an American boyfriend or help me find a black boyfriend? I know it's meant as like a joke, but at the same time, it's still not great. Not all black people are the same as you. It's not gonna lead to a happy relationship. And again, it's fetishizing a skin color or a race all over again. Yeah, I've had that happen before. And yeah, I just laughed it off at the time, but as I become more educated about racial situations, I realized, like, no, that's kind of wrong. How about you? Yeah, I know you have.
Everybody has. Oh man, it's the accent, man. And if you've never been to Australia, like, it's awesome. But yeah, like, people ask all the time, yo man, like, yo, help me find an Australian girl or Australian honey, and I'm like, so fun fact, there used to be a large group of like European and Australian people that would come through just on like tours and holidays, and Maggie knew some of these people, so they would come through and I'd be like, yeah man, I'll introduce you just to give you variety. I mean, thinking back, like, yeah, it's fetishizing because mostly it's just the accent. Like, there's no like, oh, what do they do? Like, no, it's just like, yeah, does she talk like that? Sweet.
I guess that's the like sometimes it comes down to our want for something different, and the accent kind of fills that need, or like it gives us rose-colored glasses, I think. And so like you hear the accent, you're just like, ah, and you go through a honeymoon phase. And then obviously it's gonna work or it's not gonna work, because an accent can only get you so far. But yeah. I know, I didn't fall for you for your accent. You just have, I don't know, you just sound American, but not like Southern American.
Say, all right, all right, all right.
All right, next question.
Question number 7. Don't you get frustrated not being able to express yourself in your own language?
Yes, all the time, constantly. We were in the car the other day and
I want to chuck a bicky.
What? What is even that? No! What did you say to me? He wanted me to do a U-turn. What did you say? You said it in American.
It's not family friendly.
It's fine. What did you say?
I said flip.
He's lost it.
Sorry.
In my language, we would say chuck a Youre, because that would mean giving someone the finger. I was so confused, so I just pulled over instead. So yes, it is frustrating sometimes not speaking the same language. How do you feel? Is it frustrating not being able to express yourself?
Nah, the only thing so far has been bowl and ball, which apparently sound exactly the same. So I came home the other day and I heard that my child had broke a ball.
Yeah, he broke a bowl.
So ball. I looked all over the house for this broken ball. I could not find it.
Yeah, that's honestly probably the only things. It's like, it's slang and then just like difference in how we say like A sounds and U sounds. But yeah, otherwise, no, it's not too frustrating. It's just funny more than anything else.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I find it working more than anything.
Yeah. If you want to hear him attempting to speak Australian, we also have another video about that over on the second channel as well, card above, and links down below. Alright, next question.
Question number 8. Final question. Do people stare at you when you go on dates?
Oh my god, in Japan all the time. Constantly. And it was more the fact like, I don't know, usually if you're a foreigner you get stares. The fact that we were a white and black foreigners together on a date, it was like 10 times more, 100 times more. It was way more amplified.
I'm gonna just say I'm black in America. I'm used to getting stared at. The ones in Japan I noticed were simply because she has white hair, and you know, most people in Japan that have white hair are like very old. So you'd see this Australian blazing by with white hair, and people were just like, oh. Like, yeah. I was surprised too the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I don't know, I noticed like, especially when we were at the beach, people came up to us a lot more.
Oh my God. We were in Kanagawa, Kagoshima. We were somewhere, right? We're on a vacation, little mini vacation. We're just checking out some little thrift shop that they had. And the owners of the store had their baby.
Yes!
And
we were in Nagasaki. That's where we were. Nagasaki.
It was Nagasaki.
Yeah.
So we were there just looking at stuff, right? They had a bunch of like old World War II items.
Posters everywhere, like propaganda, old ones, things like that.
A bazooka and bombs. It was crazy. Like all this old World War II paraphernalia. They also had the little pool full of fish that eat the dead skin off your feet. So we're like laughing and having fun in the store.
Nah, you'll be fine. Just put him in.
Oh, it's cold, son.
Get him in.
And they came up to us and were like, please take a picture with my baby. And I was like,
we had like that very stereotypical picture where they're like, take my child! And we were just standing there holding this baby, like, oh my God, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it.
Oh my gosh.
I never felt it in a negative way. Like it was always more like them in awe, which was really nice. In America, I haven't noticed it so much, to be honest, because I feel like living like around a Marine Corps base, there's a lot of interracial couples here as well, so I know I haven't really noticed it here.
So pretty close to Mexico. There's a lot of Latinx community here, so there's not as many stares here, but I mean, if we were to go back home, yeah. In areas there's not a lot of diversity, we get tons of stares. I've grown used to it and accustomed to it. I don't even notice anymore.
Did you notice in Australia when we went there for holidays?
No, not really. There's a lot of like Middle Eastern and Southeast Asian, like just people there in general. So no, not a lot of stares.
Yeah.
I think mostly just like when we go out and we're having like fun and I'm having way too much fun. Yeah, people are staring at like, who's this weirdo? Why is he so happy?
I guess the only time I really noticed it probably was we went to 2 weddings a couple of the times that we went back to Australia, and at both weddings, you were the only black person there. And that was more me realizing like North Queensland, I'm like, wow guys, no one's friends with anyone with darker skin tone in Australia at this wedding. That was the only time I really noticed it. I was like, huh.
I don't know. I'm used to him. Used to being the only black guy in a location, so I don't notice it as much. Yeah. And maybe that's why I just don't see it anymore. Like I've been there for so long that it's become my normal.
So while some of those questions are what's considered like kind of inappropriate to ask people in an interracial relationship, the post also has a couple of questions that are okay to ask.
How did you 2 meet?
Tinder.
Yeah,
we might do an actual video about that later on, about like how we actually met and everything. But yeah, this question obviously is totally okay. It'd be okay to ask anyone in any situation.
For sure, like it's a great question to get to know interests, hobbies, you know, potential likeness between you and your friend's significant other. I think it's a great question. Yeah, it's a perfect question to start with. Question number 2 is, what is your favorite part of your partner's culture?
What's your favorite part of Aussie culture?
The food. Oh my god, they do breakfast amazingly. They don't do anything else though, so that's kind of...
Oi! Okay, fair enough. Yeah, all of our restaurants close at like 8 o'clock half the time. So yeah, breakfast, okay. I guess my favorite part, I guess of African American culture obviously would be like the music and the fashion is obviously incredible. And from American culture, Halloween. I love Halloween. It's not really a thing in Australia. Like, it's slowly getting there, but when I was a kid, we never had Halloween, it didn't exist, so that's hands down one of my favorite things about American culture.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. All right, and lastly, do you speak insert partner's language?
Do you speak Australian?
Barely.
Do I speak American?
No.
No.
But I think it's a perfect question to ask, especially if you speak something widely different from English, like Russian or Japanese or Mandarin. It's an excellent question. Like, hey, do you speak these languages? Like, can you guys talk and no one else knows? Like, I think that's pretty cool, and that's an excellent question to ask.
Yeah, definitely an acceptable question. And yeah, I think there's something to be said about it. Even though we both speak English, you learning Aussie slang and learning American slang is a really nice way of us also bonding together as well. So I think that's really beautiful. With that being said though, I hope you guys enjoyed our video. Don't forget to check out some of our other videos as well.
Yeah, don't forget, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you thought about the video.
Yeah, is there any questions that you've been asked as an interracial couple, if that's what you are watching our video, or are there any other questions that you would like to ask us as well? Please feel free to comment them down below.
All ears.
Mwah.